In today's fast-paced, digitally connected world, distractions are everywhere. Whether it's digital, whether it's notifications, or even our own thoughts, it can become very noisy and very distracting. But if we're going to stay consistent, we have to learn how to manage those distractions. And that's what we're talking about today. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. Welcome to my 100-day walk to consistency. So glad that you're here to help me and join me as we build a better version of ourselves, as we design a more consistent version that sets us up for success. Hey, glad that you're here. Remember, consistency is your key. It is your superpower. And so we want to make sure that we are doing the things we need to do to be consistent. Let's get started. I'll see you on the walk. Hey, and welcome back. Welcome back. This is day number 33, y'all. And it's a little cooler today than it has been. This is Alabama weather. So so we're talking about distractions. What are distractions? So distractions are anything that pull your focus away from the thing you're supposed to be doing. I actually asked my son this question just yesterday. We were having a conversation, and he said, yeah, anything that takes your attention away from what you're supposed to be doing. And that is really a simple definition of what distractions are. Now, here is the interesting point about distractions. Distractions in and of themselves are not bad. In fact, there are several things that we do that require our attention and they require our energy to be done. When you're answering an email, when you are looking something up, when you are taking a phone call, all of those are activities that may be needed. The problem is that sometimes those activities occur at a time when we're supposed to be focusing on something else. You remember we talked about time blocking? And the whole idea behind time blocking is that you are dedicating time to a particular task. And anything that comes in that takes your attention away from that task is considered a distraction. Now, there may be a lot of things that have to be done that are on your to-do list that you think are very important. But if they're taking you away from the task you're supposed to be doing, then they are considered distractions. So often we will have people who say to us that, oh, that was an important thing. And I ask them, was that something that was important that had to be done right now? Remember we talked about the matrix and how we can set ourselves up for prioritizing, right? So we want to do those urgent and important things, and those non-urgent, non-important things are things that we can probably leave off of our list. And often we get confused about which one to do and which ones are the ones that need our attention, okay? So make sure that you are doing the things that are urgent and important and not doing the things that are just simply distractions. So that's what distraction is. So recognizing distractions as obstacles to your progress, that's an important point to be made. So it's not that those things are not important. That is not that those things are not things that have to be done, but do they have to be done right now? And if you are taking time and you're saying yes to those things, then you are saying no to your consistency and saying no to your progress in the direction that you want to be, okay? And that's why it's so important to take that to-do list and begin prioritizing and to set ourselves up for success, because then we know where we need to be heading. So why are distractions prevalent today? Well, distractions are prevalent because technology has become so invasive and so much a part of our world. Thinking back in the day, there weren't a lot of things that entered into your space. Let me give you an example. So before we had computers and before we had these phones and before we had all the digital devices, when you went home and you locked the door, people that were outside and people that were inside. And unless you invited someone in, or unless you planned something where you went and you visited, you were with family and you did the things that family did. And that was part of, the whole idea behind board games and reading, and you get the idea. But with the advent and with the development of technology, when you close your door at night, everything is still available. Everybody still has access to you, unless, of course, you turn on the silent and the time away. But all those things are still available and still can be part of your day up until the time when you go down to sleep. I have people that I talk to all the time, and I say to them, what is your pre-bed routine? And they say, what do you mean? I said, what do you do before you go to bed? And they said, well, I'm scrolling on my phone as I'm laying in the bed. And then when I'm tired enough, I put the phone down and I go to sleep. Okay? Now, if that's you, then perhaps the touch or the reach of technology has become too invasive, but it is a distraction. Okay? So that's why one of the reasons that we can have 24/7 contact with people outside, and with the news, with social media. We have alerts that are coming up all the time. So you want to be careful with that. That's one of the reasons why it's so prevalent. Think about how often you check your phone or you check your email. I know I tell myself, all right, and I've got to throw myself in that bucket. I tell myself that I am checking my phone, I'm checking my computer, because I do a lot on social media. I've got my YouTube channel, I've got clients, and so I'm always checking my phone because I want to make sure that I am keeping track with what they need and whether they're asking questions. But if I think about it honestly, I can probably check less frequently and still be able to fulfill all the things I need, right? So checking, but I'll check it, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times an hour, right? But you get the idea, right? So we can do something differently. So each time you check, even for a brief time, it takes your focus away from what you're supposed to be doing. And there are studies that show that when you take focus away from something, even just for a short period, it takes more time to kind of get back into that thing, get your juices flowing, get your brain going, get the mental agility back. So it's not just for that minute or that couple of minutes when you are looking at the message. Is the time that it takes you to now recover and get back to where you need to be in terms of looking at what you're having on your list. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing that and make sure that you are not wasting time and that you are setting yourself up for success. So how does, and I'm looking at someone down here, trying not to get them in our video. How does avoiding distractions enhance consistency, right? That's always the question we ask with any of these topics. How does that thing help us with consistency? And number one, it maintains momentum, right? So when we avoid distractions, then we can put our full focus on that particular activity, that particular item. It helps us to build on the momentum that's going. Have you ever been working on a project and you're in your flow, right? So it seems like things are coming, thoughts are flowing, ideas are there, and then you get distracted for whatever reason. Someone comes, calls, something goes off on your phone that you take a look at, and then now you come back and you've kind of lost that flow, right? You're not in the zone anymore. Well, when we avoid distractions, we kind of stay in that zone. We stay in the space of having all of those juices working. And so it helps us to, the momentum that's there helps us to maintain consistency. Because now what we tend to do is when we get into those situations is we're like, oh, well, let me stop here and I'll come back to it later, right? So what we just did was the interruption, the distraction, took our focus off of what we were doing. The momentum is lost, and so it's harder now for us to continue, and so consistency suffers as a result of that. So momentum is built when you consistently focus your thoughts, your ideas, your energies on a particular thing. And so momentum is tremendously important for our space, because momentum supercharges what we do. So the momentum gives extra energy to the energy that we're already putting in, right? So it I don't want to say it doubles it or it's exponential, but because you have momentum, the amount of energy that you put in is amplified so that we can move forward. Avoiding distractions also builds discipline and self-control. Yeah. Discipline and self-control. Remember that discipline, the consistency, develops discipline. Discipline develops competence. Competence develops, right? And as we get all those, then we get more consistent. And so momentum, or avoiding distractions, helps us with discipline and self-control. We learn to manage distractions, and that requires some focus, and it requires discipline, because everything seems important. Everything is going to pull at us. Everything is going to say, I need you right now. Right? And so to be able to say no to a particular thing, to say no, not right now, and to delay going to and addressing that thing right now takes self-control and takes discipline. Each time you choose to stay on focus, instead of giving into the distraction, you strengthen your ability to resist, and you strengthen your self-discipline, and you strengthen your focus. So when you resist the urge, right, to check your phone during work, or you resist the urge to go to that, look at that email and respond to it because you're trying to distract yourself, right? You want to take a break. Then you are building self-discipline and you're building control. It also improves quality of work. Fewer distractions lead to higher quality, because now you are focusing and you're bringing to bear all the resources, all the energies, all the strengths, all the talents that are in you, so that you can focus it on this particular task. Otherwise, it's broken, right? When we talked about the flow a minute ago, that flow is broken if we're not careful, and that sets us up for subpar work that does not exemplify all that we are and all the talents that we have. So when we're distracted, it causes other issues for us. Okay, so what are some strategies to avoid distraction? What are some strategies to avoid distraction? And the first one is to create a focused environment. Now we're going to talk more about environment coming up in some of our other episodes, but if your environment is not conducive for staying focused, then focus becomes difficult. So if in your space there are all of these items that are designed for distraction. You know, if you have, if you do any gaming, it's in your space. If you golf, if you play basketball, if you play whatever it is, right? The thing that you use to distract yourself, if it's in your space, then guess what? That's what's going to happen, right? Your brain is going to go to that thing when there are even small or slight hiccups in your workflow. Then automatically your brain is going to pick up on that thing and say, hey, let's do that because it's right here. Remember, access is one of the most lethal things to attention and focus, right? Because if something is there, anytime I have a problem, then my brain is going to say, hey, let's take a break right now. Let's do this other thing, okay? So your environment plays a huge role. So you want to create a space that is conducive for your work, conducive for focus, and not full of distractions. One of the things that I have done and I'm working on, one of the things I'm working on is to not have my studio in the same space where I do work. Now, right now, in my studio is where I do any of my writing. I also do my shows there. And so when I'm in that space, if I'm doing a show, if I'm preparing for a show, sometimes I'm tempted to go do some writing or answer email or check my messages. Or if I'm checking my messages and I get an idea, right, I'm tempted to just turn the camera on and do the show or to record something. And so that is really an example of not having the best space, because that space is not conducive for focus to all the things. Now, just like in my case, you may have a space that right now works a dual purpose. And so you're going to have to be very careful as you're putting things into that space and avoid bringing excess things that will distract you. Okay, so number one, you want to create a focused space, focused environment. Number two, you want to practice digital minimalism. And that's what we were talking about with the social media. So not everything that is on social media requires your attention right now, right? So there are some social media platforms that will allow you to limit how much time you spend on them. You can set times and alarms so that at particular times of the day, then you go and you check the social media. You can unsubscribe to outlets that you don't use, right? Because sometimes there are things that we don't even pay attention to, but as we're scrolling through our phone, we see that, oh, let me check what's going on there. But it's not something that you do on a regular basis, okay? So you don't have to have all those things in your space. You can make a decision about what to do and how to set yourself up for success by minimizing the digital imprint in your life. So you want to begin by intentionally choosing the digital platforms, the digital space that you create for yourself, right? Be intentional. Don't just, oh, everybody has this, let me just download it. So what is going to set you up for the best possibility of success, right? Next, you want to use the Pomodoro principle. Let me do this, switch around this way. All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so you want to use the Pomodoro principle. And this is a principle that says that you're going to work for 25 minutes and then you're going to take 5-minute break. All right, 25 minutes, 5-minute break. 25 minutes, 5-minute break. And this allows you to focus for that time.
Time, 23
that,
minutes,
okay, I've got 25 minutes.
Seconds. Total distance, 1.0 miles. Average pace, 23 minutes, 37 seconds per mile. Split pace, 23 minutes, 37 seconds per mile.
And so that was my readout for my app. Yeah, Pomodoro principle. So you are going to set a timer, for example, and you're going to work for 25 minutes, and then you're going to break, and you're going to take 5 minutes. You're going to work for 25 minutes, then you're going to take 5 minutes. And what this does is it gives you focused time that you are spending on a particular task. And it also builds into the practice time for a downtime, right? Some relief, get up and get some water, go to the bathroom. Maybe during that time, and I hate to throw it in here, maybe you do check an email or you do touch base with your assistant or whoever works with you. But this allows you dedicated time. So you know your brain says, hey, I can do this for 25 minutes. Maybe there's something else that you're trying to think of, your brain wants to think about, but it gives it a time. Say, hey, in 25 minutes I can go and I can take a look at that. Okay? So that's another way of doing it. The other thing is practice mindfulness. So mindfulness allows us to be present. When we learn how to be mindful, then distractions become less attractive because our plan, our practice, our goal, our habit is to be in this space, feeling what's in this space, observing what's in this space, smelling, tasting, touching what's in this space. And I don't have to think about something else, because sometimes distractions are just a way of avoiding a feeling that we have right now. And so we don't want to do that, right? So we are working on being present, being mindful in all the spaces we are. And that sets us up for being successful. And then you want to set clear boundaries. Sometimes we are distracted because our boundaries are unclear. We say to our folks who work with us, oh, when you need me, just come get me, or give me a call, or send me a text. When we should set some boundaries to say, hey, I'm going to be busy between 11 and 11:30. After 11:30, you can give me a call, you can send me a text, or why don't you batch whatever it is, and at 11:30, send that to me, right? And I'll take a look at it. Or, hey, after 8 o'clock, anything that you have, save that until tomorrow morning. Or I am not going to look at my social media after 9 o'clock because that's my downtime. That's my time for getting ready to go to bed. So all of those are things that we can do that sets us up for success, and how we go about changing our plan. So those are strategies for avoiding those distractions. And remember, distractions are really one of those things that takes away our focus and helps us or prevents us from being consistent. And we say that consistency is our key. Consistency is our goal. Consistency is the thing that sets us up for success. Okay? All right, so that is our plan. We're going to talk more about space coming up in one of our other episodes. Actually, I think it might be the tomorrow, episode. We're going to talk about the space that you're in. But remember that distractions are a huge, huge deterrent to consistency because they take away our momentum. They cause problems. They take away the ability to focus, take away our energy. And we want to make sure that we are minimizing them. All right. Now, all the time as we talk, you can't get away without a challenge. So are you ready for the challenge? So the challenge for today, right? So today we're talking about minimizing distractions, right? So that's our plan for today. And so I want you to get your journal out and let's go ahead and let's start working on that. Okay, so here it is. So one, you want to identify your biggest distraction. What is the thing that distracts you the most? Is it social media? Is it alerts? Is it email? Is it being in your space that has other things that are causing distractions? You want to identify whatever it is, whatever tends to be the thing that you are looking at and the things that pulls you away from your work. Next, you want to set up a distraction-free zone. So create a zone that does not have that distraction in it. Yeah, okay. And we're writing this down, by the way, right? So we're removing all the things that are associated with that out of the space where we're going to be doing our work. And I want you to use a timer to do some focused work. We use the Pomodoro principle. So set a timer for 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. 25 followed by 5. 25 followed by 5. And that will help you to have focused time when you're working, and also to have some downtime. Then the next thing I want you to do is practice mindfulness before you begin your 25-minute working time. So spend a couple of minutes and just be present, be quiet, be silent, get your thoughts together so that when you begin working, you are present in this time. So take away the distractions, take away the things you're thinking about. And then once you've done that, right, I want you to get into it. I want you to go ahead and execute. Because remember, a plan on paper is just that, a plan on paper. It doesn't take effect. It doesn't get energy. It doesn't take life until you execute it. All right. So that's our challenge for today. Make sure that you are doing this in your journal, right? So make sure you're putting this in your journal, and make sure you are that you're documenting this. The evaluation process at the end is very important, because that helps to evaluate how you're doing and evaluate how the process is working for you. You may have to adjust, you may have to tweak, you may have to find a different space, for example, right? You may have to take some other things out of that space that you didn't realize were causing issues for you. So make sure that you're journaling, and the evaluation in all the challenges, very, very important, because it allows us to adjust, tweak, change, make a difference, pivot, whatever it is that you have to do, so that we are setting ourselves up for success. Yeah. Just excited. All right, so that is our discussion for today. And we are moving along. Like I said, this is day number 33 in our process. These folks are waving to me. So staying focused in a world full of distractions is crucial. It's critical to staying on task, and it's crucial to maintaining consistency. If we can do that, just the little distractions that we have in our normal day can add a tremendous amount of time, tremendous amount of benefit, tremendous amount of success to our path and to the things that we want to do. So as we're going through the process, make sure that this is one that you're paying particular attention to, right? Because we waste, I'm going to say the word, we waste a lot of time during the day because we're distracted and we're moving from one thing to another. All right. So before I go, I want to make sure that I say to you that you have to be consistent with doing the worksheets. Remember, each one is designed to help you go a little deeper into the concepts that we're discussing, concepts that we're talking about. When you are done with all of these, you will have a manual that you've created that sets you up for success, that you can apply here in the health space, but certainly you can apply it across the board. Because remember, all of these principles are what? They're keystone. They are the things that will apply across the board, and they can, they have a domino effect. So it's not just in one space, but you can extrapolate that to other places. So take the time, please take the time that you need. Quiet time, if you want to do this on a daily basis, well, you should do it on a daily basis. Sit down, take some time, and they're not long in terms of doing the worksheet. And then also make sure that you are doing the challenges. The challenges are very important because it is a practical way of exercising the concepts that we've talked about. And that is the goal. because things on paper are just that. They are things on paper. They only take life. They only get life when we execute them, right? So let's continue to create an environment that is going to be distraction-free, that sets us up for success. And we will see you tomorrow on day number 34 of our walk. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We'll see you on our walk tomorrow. All right.